Not sure. Oh, it looks like it may have just started. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Shelter Radio. My name is David.
My name is Maggie.
And we're going to be singing some songs for you and doing some stuff for the next half hour or so. Shelter Radio happens every day at around 2 p.m. Central Time. And so thanks for joining us. And you ready? As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway, and far below me the golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled, I followed my footsteps across the shores to her diamond deserts, and all around me the voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Was a big high wall there, it tried to stop me. A sign upon it said private property. Oh, but on the other side, it didn't say nothing. And I said, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. One more time. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Thank you, Maggie. May I give you a hug?
Yeah.
Thanks. Maggie likes carrots, so she snatched a carrot. All right, so welcome to Shelter Radio. Like I say, we'll be doing songs for the next little while, and some of these songs are requests that I have been working on. Some of them are recent requests, and some of them are longer requests, but either way, they're requests, and some of them are just ones that I like doing. All right. Jeff Price, this one is for you. Someone tell me why I do the things that I don't want to do. When you're around me, I'm somebody else. Someone tell me why I act like a fool when things don't go my way. When you're around me, I'm somebody else. There is good reason, I guess, having it once gone too far. When you clean up the hive, does it make you want to cry? You're still being followed by the teenage F.B.I. Someone tell me why. Someone tell me why. Someone tell me why. Someone tell me why I do the things that I don't want to do. When you're around me, I'm somebody else. Someone tell me why I act like a fool when things don't go my way. When you're around me, I'm somebody else. There is good reason, I guess. Haven't it once gone too far? When you clean out the hive, does it make you want to cry? You're still being followed by the teenage F.B.I. Someone tell me why. Someone tell me why. Someone tell me why I do the things that I don't want to do. When you're around me, I'm somebody else. Someone tell me why. Someone tell me why. Someone tell me why. That's an old Guided by Voices song called Teenage F.B.I. I tell you, that's from a great album called Do the Collapse. And anytime I get writer's block, which is frequent, I get a lot of writer's block, one of my go-tos is to turn on Do the Collapse. And by about halfway through the album, whatever the writer's block is has loosened itself up. And so I'm happy about that. I've changed a couple of settings today on the configuration here. So overall, the sound going into the mixer is lower, which I hope will be hitting the compressors and the limiters a little bit with less slamming force, particularly when I'm loud, which means that we may be getting less compression artifacts and less kind of flanging effects. Who knows? Who knows? But I've also improved the connection to the internet, and so the interwebs are working better. Hopefully the sound's working better. So doing what I can do. Yeah. All right. So here's another request, which is going to be what it is. We can all play sports, let us play together. We can all play sports, let us play together. There is no crying in baseball, there is no crying in baseball, there is no crying in baseball, there is no crying in baseball. We can all play sports, let us play together. We can all play sports, let us play together. There is no crying in baseball, there is no crying in baseball, there is no crying in baseball, there is no crying in baseball. Nate Kerr, that one was for you. I hope I did it justice. My God, what a raucous song. You live beneath another star. You are pretending love is worth waiting for. You always breathe another air. Those rivers in the distance must be leading somewhere. Heat wave, heat wave. Why is it rolling down on the young and foolish? doesn't matter anymore. Heat wave. Can this be all we will desire? Straw houses in the promised land. Why is it time for taking sides when all I say and do is take too many chances? Heat wave, heat wave. Why is it rolling down on the young and foolish? Heat wave, heat wave. Are we rich or are we poor? Does it matter anymore in a heat wave? Will I tell you? Will you listen? If I tell you, what will happen? Heat wave, heat wave. Why is it rolling down on the young and foolish? Heat wave, heat wave. Are we rich or are we poor? Doesn't matter anymore in a heat wave. Oh, so yesterday, I absolutely did not have my groove. Didn't. It was horrible. The entire set just felt wrong. Today is feeling better. See, it's just a matter of you continue to show up, and sometimes the mojo is there. And the mojo does what the mojo wants to do. You don't control the mojo. The mojo doesn't really control you, but the mojo kind of shows up when the mojo wants to show up. It's kind of like, I don't know, the force. Something like that. I don't know. Okay. I got a couple more, and then we'll be doing our thing. I want to make sure that you know about some other options. If you like this Facebook Live stuff, definitely please check out Zach Zaya, CZAIA. He does the Poetry Lockdown. Does it 4 p.m. Central Time each day. And some wonderful poetry. So that's Zach Zaya, CZAIA. Also want to make sure that you know about Matt Springer doing the Quarantine Cabaret. Matt Springer's Quarantine Cabaret, 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And he plays kind of show tunes and 90s tunes, does a lot of stuff on the piano. It sounds great. It's fun. It's got a great variety. So please do check out Matt Springer's Quarantine Cabaret. Also want to make sure that you're aware of Kimono My House. Kimono My House. Kimono like the Japanese bathrobe. But it's an entire Facebook page, and its whole reason for being is to do the equivalent of club shows, but on live stream. And so you can go there and see a whole schedule of artists that are going to be performing. Also, sometimes people pop in and do kind of open mic sets where they'll play 2 or 3 songs over the course of about 10 minutes. And that's happening like all the time. So definitely please do check out Kimono My House. I've given several shout outs, but finally managed to put it on the tablet. Don't neglect to look for Leo Hwang, Hwang. He does guitar, and he doesn't do it on a set schedule, so I'm just calling that intermittent awesomeness. But if you look him up, Leo Hwang, he's got a bunch of guitar stuff that he's been doing over the past couple weeks that's really, really good. And I've known him for, about 30 years now, and he's just such a good musician and just such a good soul. If you're into DJing and house music, this Friday, April 17th, from 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Time, my friend Brian E. Smith is going to be doing a DJ set here on Facebook Live. So check that out. Brian Smith doing that. And just, as other folks have more ideas about stuff that folks can do to help to keep you engaged and to help to make your time in your house as you're flattening the curve, to help to make that kind of more enjoyable, I'm happy to help promote it. So please do keep sending stuff my way, and I'll keep telling folks about it. And like I say, I show up here 2 p.m. every day, and I'm so glad that you're joining us here today as well. Okay, a few more now. It's a large world, often crazy, awful cold. It's a large world. We learn hate before we're old. I look out my window, I don't see you anymore. We think we're winning, we're just evening the score. We talk, we don't listen, move in wrong directions. It's plain to see, how could I ever do anything to you that hasn't already been done to me? We got arms, hunger and arms, hunger and arms, hunger and arms, and hunger and arms, hunger and arms, hunger and arms, and hunger and arms, hunger. Quoting the book of love and God above, to hawk and dove. Empty hourglass, the chances pass much too fast. I look out my window, tell me who owns that sky. Any bluer to the enemy than it may be to you or I. We talk, we don't listen, move in wrong directions. It's plain to see the world we've lost is ours to gain, but it's all up to you and me. We got arms and hunger and arms, hunger and arms, hunger and arms, and hunger and arms, hunger and arms, and hunger and arms, hunger and arms, and hunger. So the origin of that song is like this. I was in high school, and there was a really good bookstore in the Peachtree Mall in high school. It was right at the corner of the main drag of Peachtree Mall. So like there were like many malls, it kind of had arms kind of octopusing out from a central location. And that central location had like fountains and a gathering place and the main doors. And right at that corner where the main kind of drag was this Walden Books bookstore. Pretty sure it was a Walden Books. May have been a B. Dalton's, but pretty sure it was a Walden Books. But I used to go there a lot because my mom worked in an office in the mall, and childcare for Gen X in the 80s was simply letting your children roam free in public. And so I went all over the mall, and that's where I discovered the Radio Shack and first kind of learned about computers. It's where I discovered a really great cheese shop. But also I discovered this bookstore. It was one of a couple of bookstores in the mall. And there in that bookstore, I got a hold of a bunch of different really good books. That's where I got a hold of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I got a hold of the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. I got a hold of a bunch of like Peanuts and Calvin and Hobbes and Kathy and Garfield, like compendium volumes. But also, as I got older, there was a politics section, and there was this book sitting there by a guy by the name of Willy Brandt. And he was, I'm forgetting now whether he was associated with the UN or whether he was the Chancellor of Germany. I think he was the Chancellor of Germany. Alec and Doug, I apologize for not remembering who Willy Brandt was. But anyway, the name of this Willy Brandt book was Arms and Hunger. And his basic thesis of the book, which I read years ago, was that, you know, superpowers had a choice. They could keep making weapons or they could feed people, but they couldn't really do both. And this was an impassioned plea on his part to make the choice to feed people instead of creating weapons of ultimate destruction. I still think that that's a question that faces us, and so I'm still happy to sing that song, because I still think that these are important things for us to think about and to act on. It's important to feed and to care for the least of these, the most vulnerable among us. And so, yeah. All right. And so that's the story of Arms and Hunger for anybody that wanted to know. Here another raindrop falls like a tinfoil. Here another teardrop falls like lead. Bet you want to recount, faulty on the dismount, bouncing dreams around your head. Better draw me up a blueprint, fill me in the details. There's something here I miss. Going forward with the big plan, bring along a dustpan for the man who dares resist. Shut your mouth. The devil's got a phone book. Shut your mouth. Calling you, collecting, there's a question you don't want to answer. Shut your mouth now. Oh yeah. Martin in the foyer, hand on the receiver, making him an offer he will not refuse. Betcha there's a cockroach underneath the cockroach on the paper on the wall. Martin puts the receiver down and turns around, walks back down the hall. Hey, shut your mouth. Now we've got your number. Shut your mouth. Now we're killing time and there's a question you've already answered. Shut your mouth now. Oh. So if you want to know the story behind that song, pick up a book of philosophy by Avital Ronell called The Telephone Book, which is about many things, but in addition to it being about kind of abstract philosophy, it's also about a telephone call that Martin Heidegger got one day from the Nazis and how it kind of changed everything. And that's what that song's about. All right. And now this is the most important song I'm going to play in my set. And then I'll be done. First I was afraid, I was petrified, kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. And I spent oh so many nights just thinking how you done me wrong, but I grew strong and I learned how to get along. So now you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock, should have made you leave your keys. If I'd have known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me. Oh, now go, walk out the door, don't turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to break me with goodbye? Do you think I'd crumble? Do you think I'd lay down and die? Oh, no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I still love. I got all my life to live, I got all my love to give, and I'll survive. I will survive. Hey, hey. Well, it took all the strength I had not to fall apart. Just sitting here, picking up the pieces of my broken heart. And so I'm not really Gloria Gaynor, but I still got that attitude. I can sing like an angry woman, even though I am a dude. Oh, go! Walk out the door, just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to break me with goodbye? Do you think I'd crumble? Do you think I'd lay down and down? No, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I still love. I got all my life to live, I got all my life to live, and I'll survive. I will survive. Hey. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so glad to have this time with you. I hope that wherever you are safe, you are surrounded virtually and actually by people that care for you, and that you know that even if you're not close to the people that care for you, there are so many people that care about you, so many people that want you here in the world doing your thing. And so please do keep connecting with people, keep finding ways to get your treasure, your amazingness out into the world, whether it's coming in kind of guitar in half, or whether it's turning on a vidcam and baking some bread, or whether it's saying poetry, or whether it's anything that you do, find a way to connect with other people, because you may be the thing that helps other people hang on in this weird time that we're all in. But whatever you do it at home. Make sure that you are sheltering in place. Make sure that you are limiting your exposure so that the virus can't spread. Help to flatten that curve, and do it not just for you and for the people that you love, but for the least of these among us, the most vulnerable, because that's the best thing that we can possibly do, is to make sure that those that are vulnerable are protected. That's what we're here for. I cannot wait until we get a chance to see each other face to face again. We can smile at each other. We can clasp each other by the hand. We can embrace. We can tell each other we made it and it's okay. And until that time, know that I'm going to show up here again tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for being here.